Hello everybody, it's me, the Real Local Maniac. I'm back with another 16-bit wars, and that's the Sega Mega Drive versus the Super Nintendo. Now the game I'll be doing today is a Castlevania on the, like I said, the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo. Now the first one up on the Mega Drive is Castlevania the New Generation, also known as Castlevania Bloodlines. Now, apologise about the sound there. For some reason, whenever I load up my games, they make that bizarre sound. Right, so sometimes people do ask me why I do start off with the Mega Drive game first and then the Super Nintendo. And again, it's the same reason for the 8-bit wars. The Mega Drive was the first 16-bit console I had, then the Super Nintendo. Now here's a story about 1917. A countess wants to bring back Dracula, and to revive him she needs to travel all around Europe recruiting some baddies, and it's up to our two heroes to basically try and stop her and destroy Dracula at the end. Now look at that amazing mullet. Don't you think that the guy on the far left kind of reminds me of the guy Julian Rignall that used to be in CVG? It's got that same sort of like haircut. Alright guys, once again, sticking with the Halloween theme, you know, I'm going to do some spooky and scary games. Oh yeah guys, happy Halloween by the way. So you've got John Morris or Eric Lecard. I'm going to go for John Morris because traditionally he is like the Belmont looking type guy with a whip, and I quite like his character. Now both characters control very similar, but they have different abilities. And okay, now this game came out maybe about a year and a bit after than it did on the Super Nintendo, and even though I played this after the Super Nintendo game, I still really enjoy this game. Now if you look at this intro here, it looks very similar to the Super Nintendo intro, but it's a little bit more colourful and it's animated a little bit better there. You can see his like mullet there blowing in the background. Now, the first thing I noticed about this game when I played it, and more so recently as I was doing the video, is it kind of feels like a clone or a reworking of the first Castlevania game, the way you start out. It feels pretty much like it, basically. And that's not a bad thing. I always thought the first Castlevania game was a great game, but it would have just looked a bit better if it had better graphics. And this game has got some amazing graphics there. Some nice animation. Creatures all look really good there. It's got some amazing music. Now what I love about this Sega Mega Drive game in particular, it uses things that you didn't think were possible on the Sega Mega Drive. Later on the levels, it uses things that look like Mode 7. I don't know whether they somehow programmed it into the cartridge itself, but it is an amazing accomplishment, this game. It really is one of my favourite Mega Drive games absolutely ever. Now I'm going to run away from that eye there because it's just annoying me. Now the reason why I decided to do this game as well, not just because it's just Halloween, but it's because recently I bought Castlevania Lord of Shadows on my Xbox 360, and it just really made me want to play this. I'll talk more about Lord of Shadows at a later date, but yeah. I love my 16-bit Castlevanias, and I'll be honest with you, I was never a big fan of the 8-bit Nintendo version. I just thought it lacked that graphic look, and I know it's not all about graphics, it's about playability, but this does all that but a hell of a lot better, and if you listen to that music, it's phenomenal. Alright, go through that little door there. Alright, we're going to approach the first sort of, I wouldn't say it's a boss, it's like a mini-boss basically. And again, it's done so well. I love all the little graphical touches. So it's some sort of decayed sort of zombie who's howling there. When he howls, look at the glasses breaking in the background. How amazing is that? And look at the fire there, the way it's just shooting at you. And the most amazing thing is, I don't really notice any slowdown in this particular game. A lot goes on the screen at the same time, and this game does not slow down. Now, I'll tell you what guys, it's going to be a tough decision between these two today. Now, I did do a video of this on my old YouTube channel, the one I got rid of last year. And I'm not going to tell you who the winner is, just in case you might think it's the same winner. But it will be a tough decision because I've been playing these games to death basically all of yesterday and today. I was meant to upload this video yesterday, but I decided against it. I thought I'd get a bit more gameplay into it so I could be a little bit better at it. There we go. All energized up again. Now, the same thing that most Castlevanias have. This game, you can't really move, well, jump when you're on the stairs, and that completely ruined it for me. I just don't get why he can't jump while he's on the stairs. It's really restrictive. But apart from that, the main character, does control really well. Now, there are a few differences, the way you use the whip on the Super Nintendo. But, I'll talk more about that when the Super Nintendo version pops up. Right, I mean, look at that. Okay, now we're starting to see some of the graphical touches that this game actually has. Now, unlike the Super Nintendo, which, don't get me wrong, is a graphical masterpiece as well, this starts with the graphical showcase a lot sooner than the Super Nintendo. With Super Nintendo, you've got to sort of stick with it a little bit more until you really see the good stuff. But in this one, in the first couple of levels like this, you already start to see graphical touches that you didn't normally see on a Sega Megadrive game. Look at that, you can swing there. Right, go up there. But again, this is a superb game. Honestly, I'd give this game a 10 out of 10. It is that good. And the best thing is, like I said before, you've got two playable characters and they play slightly different. Like with the other one's got like this metal pole thing and you can jump up with it and so on. I'm not going to have enough time to show you that on this particular video, but look at that again. Look at that giant skull there, holding that axe, swinging around. Look at little power-ups like that. Oops, mistimed that one. But honestly, if you guys have never played this game, you have to check it out. Honestly, I think here in Europe it was New Generation, and in other regions it was New Blood. I mean, guys, check that out. How amazing is that? I mean, in later levels, yeah, you get this big giant rock thing or skull thing that starts rolling towards you, and it's just... I played that, I thought, a Mega Drive can't do that, it's not meant to do that. Now again, guys, this did come out a good few years after the Super Nintendo version. I think maybe about 2 years or something like that, but it's a great game. Right, I'm approaching the first boss, which also means I'm approaching the end of the Sega Mega Drive version. It's going to be a tough one. Right, guys. Now this is a Super Nintendo version of Castlevania. This is Super Castlevania 4. And the first time I saw this, I think it was in HMV in Oxford Circus, in Oxford Street somewhere, and they had it on one of those sort of like things where they just had it running, and it just had the demo running, and I was wowed by it, and I had to buy it. Right, let me enter my name. Yep, my name is Andy, so that will be my name. But listen to the music. The music sounds absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, there's the intro. Doesn't look quite as good there as the Mega Drive version, but again, to be fair, the Mega Drive version did come out a few years after that. Right. Now the graphics are nice and big. They're slightly bigger than the Sega Mega Drive version, and it uses a different sort of color scheme there as well, where I think the Mega Drive version is slightly more colorful. This uses slightly more spooky and sinister tones, and look at that, the drawbridge going up like that. Now, like I said, I had played the Castlevania games as a youngster growing up on the 8-bit Nintendo, and even on the Game Boy, and to me this was such a huge leap in graphics. It was just completely out of this world. Now from the get-go, you can control your whip, you can spin it around, and you can't do that in any other version, and I think that is sadly lacking. I think you can actually, in Rondo of Blood actually you can do that, but we'll talk about that at some other point. But the music, again, it just sounds so epic. And don't get me wrong, I love the music on the Mega Drive version, but it's slightly different. It is completely different. But look at all the vines growing up the gates there. This probably has to be in my top 10 of favourite soundtracks ever. I love all the music in this game. And like I said before, in the Mega Drive version, now the graphics, okay, they look pretty standard. You know, at first you think, well, it's just Castlevania on the Super Nintendo. They've just done it up a little bit. But later on, if you stick with this game, you'll see how amazing some of the graphics are. You'll see things rotating. You'll see like the whole screen rotate. Oh man, this game is absolutely amazing. It's probably my third or fourth favourite Castlevania game, along with the Sega Mega Drive version as well. Again, guys, like I said, it's going to be an absolute difficult decision to actually pick a winner today in this 16-bit wars. If you haven't played this and you've got a Super Nintendo, guys, do yourself a favour, go to eBay, or if you can find this in a car boot sale, guys, definitely buy it because it is phenomenal. Now that little swinging from the thing there will come in handy a lot later. This is just like a simple introduction. Whoa, maybe swung a little bit too far. Because later on, there's going to be a bit where we're going to have to swing onto something and the whole screen rotates. Now, I'm not going to be able to get that far into this particular game to show you that because of the YouTube time limit. And guys, I am absolutely glad that they've upped the YouTube time limit from 10 minutes to 15 minutes. And I'm going to try and do about 14 minutes, maybe just under 15 minutes on this. And reason being is because I wanted to show you the whole first level of the game. Well, apart from me defeating the bosses. And again, that's just down to time constraints. I used to struggle with the old YouTube time limit, you know. I didn't want to edit certain things out. And again, the other question is people normally tend to ask me is like, why do I tend to show just the first level? Alright, there's two simple reasons. For one, it's mostly I'm lazy and I cannot be bothered to waste any more of my time editing this, editing that, so I can show you all the best bits. You know what? I've got simply more to do with my spare time than do that, you know. And another reason is, basically, is like, if I play the first level and you see how good the first level is, it will leave you wanting more. So it's two simple reasons. Now again, guys, going back to this game here, it is phenomenal. The music is amazing. When you think about it, Rondo of Blood, okay, the graphics were really good on that particular game, and even on Symphony of the Nights, which, guys, I'll be completely honest with you, Castlevania Symphony of the Night is my favourite Castlevania game ever. It is just one of the games that everyone should play, and it's just, it combined this sort of gameplay with Super Metroid, and it's just, to me, that game cannot be beaten. Oh man. Right, so what I need to do now is activate my little stopwatch thing there, which sort of stops everything on the screen at the same time, and it's really useful because these Medusa heads can be a right pain in the ass. Yeah, guys, I recently read somewhere that they're making a film of Castlevania. I don't know how true that is. Most films that get made from a game are absolutely crap, but you know what? I'm such a huge fan of Castlevania, I'm going to have to go and see that. Maybe not in the cinema, but you know, maybe when it comes out on DVD, find it in the bargain bin somewhere, I'll watch it. But this is what I love about this game. You've got complete total control of your whip here. Alright, I should be approaching the first boss just after I go to the left and then to the right. Now this is going to be a tough decision. Okay, like, it's got a completely different colour scheme than the Mega Drive. The Mega Drive looks a little bit more cartoony. This looks a little bit more dark, mysterious. The sound's slightly better on this. Don't get me wrong, the sound of the Mega Drive is good. I'm going to have to go for this version here. This is your